Hollow Creek was the kind of town people forgot existed. A single road, a handful of houses, and a forest so dense it swallowed the horizon. When Ethan arrived to investigate the disappearance of his cousin Mara, he expected an ordinary missing person case. But the moment he stepped out of his car, he felt it. The silence, not peaceful silence. Heavy silence, watching silence. The locals avoided him. They spoke in short sentences, eyes darting toward the forest as if afraid it might hear them. When Ethan asked about Mara, they all said the same thing. She went into the woods. She didn't come back. No one ever does. Ethan didn't believe in curses or legends, but that night, as he settled into the old cabin Mara had rented, he heard something outside. Footsteps, slow, heavy dragging. He looked through the window. A figure stood at the edge of the trees, tall, thin. Motionless, Ethan blinked. The figure was gone. The next morning, Ethan searched the forest trail where Mara was last seen. The trees were unnaturally tall, their branches twisted like skeletal arms. The deeper he walked, the darker it became, as if the forest swallowed the sunlight. He found Mara's backpack near a fallen log. Inside were her notes. The shadows move. They whisper at night. They know my name. Do not follow them. Ethan felt a chill crawl up his spine. He turned to leave, but the forest had changed. The path behind him was gone, replaced by dense trees. A whisper drifted through the air. Ethan! He spun around. Mara? No answer. Just the whisper. Closer now. Ethan! He ran. Branches clawed at his clothes. Roots twisted under his feet. The forest seemed alive, shifting around him. He didn't stop until he burst into a clearing. In the center stood an old stone well. The air around it was freezing, and carved into the stone was a single word. Ethan backed away from the well, but the forest behind him darkened. The trees bent inward, closing the clearing like a cage. He heard footsteps behind him. Slow, heavy. Dragging, he turned. A figure stood at the edge of the clearing. Tall, thin, its face hidden in shadow. Ethan whispered, "Who are you?" The figure tilted its head. Its voice was a whisper of many voices. "We are the ones she followed." Ethan stepped back. "Where is Mara?" The figure raised an arm and pointed at the well. "She went home." Ethan shook his head. "No, she's alive." "I know she is." The figure stepped closer. "She is with us now." Ethan ran back into the forest, forcing his way through the branches. The whispers followed him. "Ethan, come back. You belong here too." He didn't stop until he reached the cabin. But the cabin door was open, and someone was inside. Ethan entered the cabin slowly. The air was cold, thick, unmoving. The lights flickered. On the table lay Mara's journal, open to a page he hadn't seen before. "They come at night. They stand at the windows. They wait for me to sleep. They want me to follow. They want someone new." Ethan heard a creak behind him. He turned. A shadow moved across the hallway. Long, thin. Wrong. He grabbed a flashlight and followed it. The hallway felt narrower than before, the walls closing in. He reached Mara's old bedroom and pushed the door open. The room was freezing, and on the bed lay a photograph. A picture of Ethan, standing in the forest. With a tall shadow behind him, Ethan dropped the photo. The whisper came from the corner of the room. "Ethan!" He turned. The shadow figure stood there. Closer than ever, Ethan stumbled backward, but the shadow didn't move. It simply watched him, its head tilted unnaturally. He shined the flashlight at it, but the beam passed through as if the figure were made of smoke. The shadow whispered, "She called us. She followed us. Now you follow too." Ethan ran out of the room, down the stairs and out of the cabin. He sprinted toward the town, but the road seemed longer than before, stretching into darkness. He reached the sheriff's office, breathless. Sheriff Dalton looked up slowly. His eyes were tired, afraid. "You saw them," he said quietly. Ethan nodded. "What are they?" Dalton swallowed hard. "They're the ones who never left." "The ones the forest kept?" Ethan slammed his hands on the desk. "Where is Mara?" Dalton looked away. "She's one of them now." Ethan refused to believe it. He grabbed a lantern and headed back into the forest. He would find her, or die trying. The forest was alive with whispers. They drifted between the trees like cold breath. Ethan followed the trail deeper than before, guided by instinct and desperation. He reached the clearing again. The well stood silent. But this time someone stood beside it. Mara. Her skin was pale, her eyes empty. Her hair hung wet over her shoulders. Ethan ran to her. "Mara, Mara, it's me!" She didn't move. Didn't blink, didn't breathe. Ethan touched her arm. Her skin was ice cold, she whispered. "You shouldn't have come." Ethan stepped back. "Mara, please, come home with me." She shook her head slowly. "I am home." The shadows emerged from the trees. Dozens of them, tall, thin, watching. Mara pointed at Ethan. "He is next." The shadows closed in. Ethan backed toward the well, lantern shaking in his hand. The air grew colder, thicker, suffocating. Mara stepped closer, her movements stiff and unnatural. Ethan whispered, "Mara, fight it, please." Her expression didn't change. The shadows whispered in unison. "He belongs to us." Ethan turned and ran, but the forest twisted around him. Every path led back to the clearing. The shadows moved closer, their forms shifting like smoke. Mara raised her hand. "Come with me." Ethan shook his head. "I won't leave you here." She stepped closer. "You already did." The shadows surged forward. Ethan screamed as the darkness swallowed him. The forest fell silent. The well exhaled. And if someone walked close enough to the clearing, they would hear it. A whisper.